Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where you are viewing, what time it is where you are viewing this tutorial. My name is Coda Mannion Nash, and welcome to Referencing 101, How to Construct a Reference List. So far we've already gone through what is plagiarism, how to avoid plagiarism, we looked at all the different strategies, we also looked at how to construct in-text referencing. Now we're going to look at how to actually construct the reference list that must occur at the end of your document. So this is after you've written your assignment, you've included all your in-text references, and now we're going to compile the list at the end. So what are we going to specifically look at? The first thing we're going to look at is the format of the reference list. Now this is important. What should it look like? How do we put it together? There is a very strict instructions on how to do it. The second thing we're going to look at is how to construct each reference entry for the book, the website, and the journal. The reason I'm only focusing on these three is Referencing 101 is all about just learning the basics of how to reference. We believe that if you learn the basics, you will be able to then construct an in-text reference in-text citation as well as a reference list entry for any source that you look at. So that's why we're really only focusing on these three. Secondly, these are the three main ones that you'll be using while you're at college. So your book is your textbook, your website is where we get most of our information from these days, and lastly, a journal. For Varsity College, you will only access journals through EBSCOhost, so please keep that in mind. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing we look at is your reference list and the actual format of your reference list. So first of all, it must be done in alphabetical order. It's very important. So not some students list it to how often or the first one they used and they go that process. No, you need to do it in alphabetical order. With your list that you're constructing at the end, do not use bullets. It's very important. You just start on a new line. Make sure all the information is present about the source. So where it was published, who published it, all those types of information. It's important because it helps the reader or your lecturer or your tutor to locate those. So it is important. And make sure that all your in-text citations match your reference list. Very important. So make sure that everything matches as you go through. Okay. Right, so let's first start with your hard copy and what needs to be included in every single hard copy reference entry. So our hard copy is our textbooks, our anything you can hold, anything that's not found online. So we first start off with our author, and we actually mean author's surname, comma, and then we put the initials of the author, and then a full stop, very important. We put the date that it's published. This is the year that it has been published, followed by your full stop. Then the title of the book must be in italics. This is crucial. It's like anything that you write in your reference list, as soon as we see a title, we presume it is the title. Sorry, as soon as we see anything in italics, we presume it is the title of the source that we are looking at. Then we include the edition or the volume number. Obviously, if you are viewing only the first edition, then you don't include this at all. And then the place of the publication. Now, what's important to note here, please, is when we say place of publication, we mean the city, so not the country. And you must put a colon at the end here, very important, not a comma. And then we put the name of the publisher. Okay, well, let's see that in action. So you can see there, the author's surname, the initials, the year, and as you see, the title is in italics. This one is the third edition. And here's what I mean about the city. Oxford, not Britain, not England or anything like that. The city it was published in, and then the whole publisher. Now, to get most of this information is usually on the inside of your front cover or it is on the first page. So just have a look for it and you'll see all the different information there. Okay, now let's look at websites. Now websites is something that most students use, and most of their information comes from websites. Websites are fine to use, but please make sure they are credible websites. As been said in the course, Wikipedia is not accepted at Varsity College at all. And some of the lecturers, actually most of the lecturers, if you use Wikipedia, if they see Wikipedia in your reference list, they will not mark your copy. So please be very careful about that. You can use websites, but they must be credible. Okay, so you've used a credible website, you did your in-text reference. Now what does the reference entry look like? So the golden rule of referencing is this is all the information that you need to include. Now it's the same as a hard copy. We have the author, we have the date that it was published, the title, so on and so on. But there's a little bit extra in here. So let's go through each one. First of all, you include the author. Now remember when I said in in-text referencing, sometimes the company is the author. Absolutely fine. For this example, we're going to use Microsoft. So let's have a look. The first thing is your author or your organizational's name. Now where do we find that on a website? Looking at our example, it's right here. That is our author. Because there is no author anywhere. It is a company that wrote this information. Right, the next is your copyright date or the last date that the site was updated. Now this is the same as your publishing date as you would have in a book. But because websites are updated all the time, we go for the copyright date, which you will find, as you can see here, at the bottom of the website. So whatever website you're looking at, scroll to the bottom and you'll be able to see it right there. Okay. Then the title of the article, again, is in italics. And here, you'll see it here. My business is growing. Not Microsoft for your business. That is the website. The actual article that you are reading is here. My business is growing. So we include that in italics. Then you'll see here in square brackets, medium. Now medium is important when we're looking at online sources because it just tells your reader that they need to that you got the information from an online website or you got it from an e-journal. We don't do this for books or hard copies. It's only really for online stuff. So here in your medium, you're going to write online. Then the next thing is your URL address, which we all know. It's right up here. Now, what I want to bring to your attention with your URL, you must copy and paste it exactly. Please do not write it down. You must copy it. And it's very important here because if anything is not written correctly, then this website is not going to open. Then it's impossible for the tutors or the lecturers or whoever's marking your paper to make sure or verify the information. So it is very important that you get this right. So you, for the first time ever and for the last time ever in college and university, you may copy and paste, and that is it. And then the last thing, again in square brackets, is the date of access. Now, I cannot stress this enough, the date of access. This is the date that you looked at the article. And this is really important because if the information has changed since the last time you looked at the article to when the reader looks at the article, they might state that you are paraphrasing incorrectly or you are taking a quote that's not there. If they can look at the date of access and see that they're marking it months later or weeks later or whatever, then they will take that into consideration. Another warning, do not backdate your access dates. So if you left your assignment to the last minute, which obviously you shouldn't, but things happen, please do not date back your access points to try and make the lecturer think that you were doing your article 2 weeks before. Not a good idea. Rather, put the real dates on because you might pick a date or you might backdate it to that article wasn't there at the time. So again, the lecturer won't be able to verify it. So you need to be careful with that. Just be honest, just put the date in. You might get a note from the lecturer saying, please do your assignments a couple of weeks earlier. Okay, so let's see it in action. As you can see, there is the author, my business is growing, it's online. You need to include the words available at, and I'll show you why with the journal later, but it's very important, available at. Then you put the entire APA, the URL in, and then the date. So the day, the month, and the year that you access the information. It's really important. So that is your websites, and that is how to reference your websites. You can see it's the same process as the books, and this is why we design Referencing 101 like this, because the ideas and aspects are all almost identical. All that changes is how it is done and what information not how it's done, what information needs to be included depending on the source that you use. Okay, so the last one is your online journals that I'm going to go through, and this is because online journals is the most intensive to study, and it is the most intensive to bring all the information in. They have the most information in our reference list. So let's look at it. You will be going onto EBSCOhost. As Varsity College, that is where you go. So I'm only showing you EBSCOhost journals, but once you've mastered this, you can go into any journal and you'll be fine. In your abstract, when you are picking your journal, you will see all this information here. To be able to cite correctly, we want this top information here. To make it easier, you can press cite, but I'm just going to explain to you where each of the information is coming from. So, an online journal or a journal of any kind is a whole bunch of articles put in one book. So my speciality is criminology, so I'm going to use the example from there. We have journals, let's say, about violent crimes. So for a whole year or a whole semester or something along those lines, a whole lot of criminologists will write articles about violent crimes. And then they will take all those articles, the institution will take all those articles and put them into one journal. Let's say violent crimes for the first half of 2016. And then you'll have those tons of different articles. It's exactly the same as a magazine. You buy one magazine, but it has many articles in it. That is what a journal is. Even though it's on an online database, that is what it is. So, you will see the author is there. And then this, Promoting the Theory and Practice of Criminology, is the title of the article, not the title of the journal. Therefore, this title will not be in italics. Okay, very important to remember that. Promoting the Theory and Practice of Criminology will be the title of the article. Okay. The title of the journal is here, Australia and New Zealand Journal of Criminology. This will be in italics because it's the title of the whole source. Then August 28, 2008 is the date of the article. And then on this side is the volume and the issue number. So it's just helping us identify what volume it is, what issue it is to locate it. And for page numbers, journals are the only one that's important that we take the page numbers into the reference list. All the others we don't. Okay, so let's see that in action. As you can see, there's the author and the date, same as normal. Promoting the Theory, as you can see, it's the title of the article, so it's not in italics. Australia and New Zealand Journal of Criminology is the title of the entire book, so that becomes in italics. We put the medium as an e-journal. This just tells me as a reader that you were online when you looked at this journal and you were going through a database. In other words, I can't walk down to the library below and find it. I will have to log on to the database. Then our two numbers, our volume and our issue number. The volume number is outside the brackets and the issue number is inside the brackets. It's just a code for us to know. And then we put the page numbers, not of the whole journal, but just the page numbers where this article can be found. Okay, and we do double P's because it's more than one page. Then we say, remember I said to you when you're using a website you use available at? Well, now we use available through. And the reason for that is you got to go through the database to find this article. It's not on a website. And all you do is list the database's name, which is EBSCOhost for you. And again, same as the website, what date you accessed it on. Okay, just so we know if the information has changed or not, or so on. So it seems like a lot of information, but it is the same process as a website. It's just telling the reader where they can find the information. And that is it for the reference list. So what did we cover today? We looked at what is the format of the reference list and how do we do it. No bullets, it must be in alphabetical order. How to construct the reference list entries, and we specifically looked at a book, a website, and a journal. And this told us, and I showed you how each one is different. So please, as usual, feel free to contact me or your tutor, which is me, at nash27@purdue.edu, or ask your peers on the discussion forum again if you need any assistance, want a bit of clarity and things like that. The most important lesson that I can explain is, if in doubt, cite. It's always better to oversight than undercite. Okay, very, very crucial. So make sure that you are always citing other people's ideas. Yeah. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Remember, rewind, fast forward, stop wherever you need to. Keep the video close on hand for when you do your assignments. And I hope it was helpful. Yeah. Goodbye.